Oh yeah, Paul, Peter, John. I said, oh my God, listen, man. I said, you happen to stumble into one of the world's foremost experts on
Mm.
biblical texts, the Torah, the ancient tablets in the world. That's who I said, you happen to stumble into one of the world's foremost experts on biblical texts, the Torah, the ancient tablets in the world. That's who you're talking to right now.
To how you came about, like the findings where it seems that Jesus was not
Sure,
crucified, or that's not accurate.
sure. And in my videos, and if you listen to the podcast, the statement is according to the Sinai Bible. Okay, according to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible is predates the King James version of the Bible, and the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James version of the Bible, which came much later. Uh, and then also one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which, according to some scholars, is a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then adds more. If that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified. Um, I just personally believe that Jesus was an amazing human being. I don't think that he was the son of God in the sense that he's God, but that we're all gods, as he said, "Ye are gods," and that we're to do greater things in Him. And I just personally believe that the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness. When we can all achieve a certain
That's yeah.
Yeah, well, first let me say I think it's really cool to not just be in the room proverbially with you, Billy, but be able to interact with you. Because I wish I could be there in person. Unfortunately, Toronto, Canada, is a long way away from Florida. It's a little bit of a jaunt. But I really appreciate the fact that you seem to have investigated to a certain degree some of these facts. Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written that made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home. It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming that's the mountain that they're referencing there. But they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James version being put out.
Sure. So, when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus, like the codex that comes? Okay, that's why I was trying to get some clarification because so you can actually go and see Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library, so you can go and see it. It's on display, and the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistic work. I'm an expert on early Christian scribal culture, and particularly in Greek and Coptic manuscripts. Um, I actually have a facsimile. So I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean,
Gotcha.
and not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just it's a 4th century Greek manuscript.
Mhm.
It comes from approximately between 325 and 350 AD. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring when you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there. I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27,
Mhm.
where it has Jesus being crucified, and that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently. So actually, are you able to pull up a website with the viewers or listeners or whatever be able to see that
right now to make sure I have the right the version that I'm looking at.
While he's pulling that up too, like I keep saying to all the people that aren't scientists traveling the world and linguists, I don't even know how to pronounce it the right way, like me.
Yeah, linguists.
What
Yeah.
cyanide? I keep thinking of cyanide, like the cyanide Bible. So
Right.
is that like a version? So from my own knowledge that I know, like when I really studied all this, what I thought was interesting about the Bible was how many like different eyewitness. I studied C.S. Lewis back in the day, how many different eyewitnesses and stuff there were. And they went on purpose to mention so many other names that they were able to like cross-reference throughout history and throughout those times, from my understanding. And those were different things that I always thought were kind of interesting that I felt was a good concept of proof. And then I want Billy to answer, and also I'm just curious, like the Sinai Bible, where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Okay, yeah. Well, so that's good. So let's deal with that too, because I've actually worked with. There are two manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery, and so that's why I think it's important to get to these sources. So, at the very start of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have two copies of, one is in Italian and one is in Spanish. We see right off the bat that the Gospel of Barnabas, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are two apocryphal documents from the 2nd century, but the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery because it does things like in chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem, and neither Mount Sinai nor Jerusalem are close to the Jordan River. So never mind there not being a route from the Jordan River to around Mount Sinai or going to Jerusalem. But there are internal problems with the Gospel of Barnabas, which indicate that it shows no actual indication of evidence of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah, which indicates that whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. And I think a bigger problem is that the Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century, and none in any other language other than Middle Age Italian Italian and Spanish. But the internal content of the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient. And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, or it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. So I think what I'm getting at is, so I'm a historian, and I deal with sources. So when I'm looking at...
Hey, what's going on, smart believers? You know, I watched the debate today with Wesley Huff and Billy Carson, and it was just Billy Carson got smashed, man. He just got ripped to pieces, and which I'm grateful for, because Billy Carson is an extreme antichrist. I used to watch a lot of Billy Carson content, and it was just to see what he was about and what he talked about. And I always considered him, I don't even know if I'm saying the word right, but it's a dilettante, someone that professes or someone pretends that they're expert in a certain field, but they're really not. All right, and that's exactly what Billy Carson is. He wants to bash Christ. He wants to bash the Bible, and but he speaks without knowledge. He's not a knowledgeable person. Excuse me. I got a clip. I'm gonna show you a clip in a minute of him stating that he's an expert in biblical languages. He's an expert in this ancient text and that ancient text. And the reality of it is, and the truth of it is, and the factual matter of it is that Billy Carson not only don't know his way around any ancient text or any biblical text, Billy Carson don't even know his way around a cookbook. You know, he don't know his way around a book from Gracie's Corner. You know, and he's a complete and total fraud. And I'm glad that see the thing is, Billy Carson has always been on platforms where people who thought like he thinks, you know. So he was impressing people who is already on the same non-educational wavelength as he's on. You know, they all think together. They all enjoy the same. They have a camaraderie in foolishness. And so, and a lot of times Billy Carson always have monologues, and there was never anyone there credible to speak against the things that he was saying. But when he got on this platform with Wes Huff tore him to pieces. And what did he do? He ran around after that and to file lawsuits against these guys. You know, Billy Carson openly went out and had a debate with these guys. He had an open debate, and he got smashed in the debate. And as a result of that, he went out and tried to sue these guys and everything. You know, at one part in the debate, Billy Carson wasn't even quoting his own sources correctly. He said, "Oh, the Sinai Bible." Well, the correct name of it is, if that was a document that he was familiar with, then he would have knew that it's called the Codex Sinaiticus. How is it that someone that's familiar with a text, that you're an expert in the text, and you don't even know the correct name for it? You know, oh, the Sinai Bible. And so Wesley Huff, you know, when he demonstrated to him, he said, "Hey, man, that's a collection of the books of the Bible that we have now." You know, the Codex Sinaiticus was actually, when they, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first one where they took they took the papyri, and they, instead of rolling it, they kept it flat and they put it together in pages like a book. And he said, and so Billy Carson say, "Hey, well, in that book, you know, it talks about how the resurrection of Jesus is no, what he said? He said that Jesus wasn't crucified, that Jesus didn't die on the cross and all this other stuff." And so and Wes Huff is like, "Where? Not in that." And so he gets his phone, Billy Carson gets his phone, and I guess he goes to Google or whatever, and he looks up something on his phone. He says, "Oh no, I'm talking about the Gospel of Barnabas." What? So now you're speaking like you know the text about the Gospel of Barnabas. And so that was a total debacle. Wesley Huff explained to him the fact that, hey, we don't even believe in the book of Barnabas. The book of Barnabas has been debunked as a fraud a long time ago, bro. You know? And so, but if you're an expert in these texts, you would have known that. You would have known that the at best the Gospel of Barnabas, is what they consider, or what we consider, a pseudepigraphal gospel or a Gnostic gospel. You know, so these guys wrote these books, and they pin people names on the books, like the Book of Thomas and all this stuff. They someone else wrote these books, and they put these names on the books to give them credibility. You know, so Billy Carson, you being an expert in all of these ancient texts and everything, that you would have known that, but you didn't know that because you're a fraud. You know. He was a complete and total fraud. And like I said, I'm so glad that Wesley Huff body slammed dude. And hopefully, we can get him off the air. We can get him out of YouTube so everybody can see him for the fraud that he is. The Emerald Tablets. There ain't no such thing as the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets don't exist. You know, what is his name? Maurice Durrell. He was the person that claimed that he found the Emerald Tablets of Thought. And so, but that's all he had was a piece of paper. And so all the Egyptologists that he went to, all of the archaeologists that he went to, they said, well, where are the tablets? Oh, I don't have the tablets, but I just got this. So you come to us with a piece of paper with stuff on it that you wrote on it, and you want us to think this is an ancient Egyptian document? What? Only a fool would have believed in that. Only a fool would believe in the Emerald Tablets because they don't exist. And Billy Carson is a fool. That's the reason why he's doing all this preaching about the Emerald Tablets of Thought. You know, like he just specialized in these. Like he got the tablets and he broke them down. You know. And he broke these tablets down, and he just, went through all of the ancient languages and transcribed, and you know what I mean. And I don't even think he even knew what the origin story of the Emerald Tablets of Thought was, you know. But anyways, I just wanted to get that out, and I want to say, yay. That's one for Team Christ, because we can get that Antichrist out of here, man. You know, get him out of here. Get that fraud, Billy Carson, out of here, dude.